In April this year, a declaration was made by the Minister of Education, Professor Adamu, that the federal government would declare a state of emergency in the education sector. On November 28, the Nigerian House of Representatives indeed declared a state of emergency on the sector, vowing to rescue it from further decay. And to this end, the House resolved to increase the budgetary allocation of the sector to the United Nations standard of 26% from the present paltry 7%. In December 2018, the Academic Staff Union of University, ASU, is on strike. Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, ASUP, is on strike. Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, is also on strike. The major issues are infrastructure, remuneration, and staff welfare, just to mention a few. Aside these issues, countless challenges still confront the education sector in Nigeria. In this special package, we take a retrospective look at trends and controversies in the Nigerian education sector in 2018. We start with the Sex for Marks scandal that rocked the country. In April, a viral audio emerged of 55-year-old Professor Richard Akindele of the Obafemi Awolowo University, OAU, demanding 5 rounds of sex from postgraduate student Monica Osage to increase her marks. What followed was a media meltdown. After months of investigations, the management of OAU dismissed the lecturer. The professor has been charged to court about Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences, ICPC.
Now, the Federal High Court in Osogbo on Tuesday declined the bail application of ex-lecturer with Obafemi Awolowo University, Professor Richard Iyola Akindele, dragged before the court for demanding sex in order to award marks to one of his students, Monica Osage. The counsel to the defendant, Francis Omotosho, filed an application for his bail. The application was opposed by a senior legal officer with the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, who filed a counter affidavit deposed to by a detective, Afolabi Oluwatoyin. Justice Maureen Onyetonu said allegations contained in the counter-affidavit were weighty and directed the prosecution to produce evidence to back his claim. She ordered that the defendant be remanded in prison custody till December 7.
Sadly, the punishment meted out to the professor did not stop some lecturers from committing the same crime. In July, 3 lecturers were sacked by the Lagos State University, LASU, for sexually harassing their students. Then came the announcement of the scrapping of the Higher National Diploma HND certificate issued by polytechnics by the federal government. The decision by the Federal Executive Council (FEC) on Wednesday, June 6, limited the certificate to only the students currently admitted for the program. Also, all programs being run by polytechnics which were not technology-based and which are about 70% was announced scrapped. Under the new rule, the polytechnics will become campuses of the proximate universities, with the vice-chancellors of those universities appointing provost for the polytechnics, subject to the ratification of the universities' councils. The polytechnics will only award National Diploma (ND), while those desirous of further education will be awarded the Bachelor of Technology (BTech) by the proximate university. The government also announced that Yaba College of Technology and Kaduna Polytechnic would be upgraded to universities. This announcement caused a lot of reactions from the public, especially from polytechnics undergraduates. While many critics argued that polytechnic education should be improved to a better standard instead of scrapping its certificate, others said the government's plan is a good idea as it may help to reduce the discrimination between BSc and HND holders. Many who cast their minds back to the big news of Saturday, September 29, 2018, will remember the reactions to the alleged federal government plans to introduce tuition for public tertiary institutions in Nigeria. The alarm was raised by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, that the federal government was planning to increase tuition for undergraduates in arts and humanities to 350,000 naira and 500,000 naira for those in sciences. This was denied a few days later by government representatives, and the story died down. This narrative will be incomplete without the hijab controversy, which pitted students against teachers, Muslim parents against schools, as well as a disagreement of opinions over what the Constitution says about freedom of religion and what school authorities want. In September 2018, the principal of Isolo Senior Secondary School, Mrs. J.O. Sadere, reportedly sent 5 students out of the school for wearing hijab. Similarly, the management of the University of Ibadan International School in November shut down the school after some students came to the school wearing hijab on Monday, November 12. The appearance of the students prompted the school principal to dismiss the morning assembly and also directed that the school be locked until further notice. However, while Lagos State government issued a circular directing teachers and principals of public schools to allow female students to wear hijab without intimidation or discrimination till the Supreme Court rules over the matter, the authorities of the International School Ibadan reopened the school and stood their ground that no hijab is allowed in the 63-year-old secondary school. We move now to the controversy that put Covenant University in the news for days in April. It started after a Twitter user at IJMom tweeted that the university management shaved the hair of some students for allegedly keeping a hairstyle that is non-compliant with the school rules. I know you've been waiting for this one, the ASU strike. This has been a consistent feature in the education sector since 1999, disrupting the academic calendar and keeping students in school longer than necessary. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, after a meeting at the Federal University of Technology, Akure Futa on November 4, declared an indefinite nationwide strike starting November 5. There were reactions to this.
I think it's high time we stop them. This is strikes. It's becoming sickening and very, very heartbreaking. I had to spend 5 years for a 4-year course. There are a lot of my colleagues, so to say, my fellow students, who spent like 7 years, 6 years for a 4-year course, and ever since then it has not stopped. And it's really, if you allow me to use that word, crazy. And that's why at this point I think the federal government should establish a common ground with ASU's people so that this strike can be resolved once and for all, and we won't come back to it again.
We end this review with the passage of 6 bills seeking to establish federal tertiary institutions in different parts of the country. The bills were passed following the consideration of the report by the Committee on Tertiary Institution and Third Fund, presented by its chairman, Senator Barau Jibrin, and as expected, Nigerians reacted not too warmly to this development.
We actually do not lack the capacity to educate our children at the higher education level. The reason why we keep thinking that we don't have enough higher educational institutions is because we haven't got an effective career management system at the secondary school level that can help young people who are in secondary school to understand where the opportunities they're looking for are. Those opportunities are all over the place, but we keep thinking they are not there because we haven't got professionals in the secondary school system to direct the young people we want to cater for.
With the myriads of challenges that continue to plague the education sector, many are placing the blame on federal government's repeated failure to honor agreements reached with players in the education sector. The worry is the fear that growth might be stalled indefinitely if positive action is not taken to address the situation. What stories and trends we will talk about in Nigeria's education sector by this time in 2019? Well, it would definitely be nice if the deadlock between ASU and the federal government ends and some sanity is restored. If we can tell of infrastructural and technological advancement in Nigeria's education sector, and many would say amen to this, that more lecturers learn not to sexually harass their students.
If we desire development, then relevant agencies in the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Education, Teachers Registration Council, National Universities Commission, etc. These are the people who are constitutionally saddled with the responsibility of developing education. Once they take the lead, then civil society groups, education institutions like ours can also then join in that movement in ensuring that education works, for the people of this country.